Facebook is up, waiting for YouTube to come in. Welcome, everybody. Justin R. Harris here. Real estate investment, stocks, sometimes crypto. I don't know about crypto right now. Kind of froggy. We talk about the day trading. I haven't touched on that in a while because the market is what it is. Like I keep telling you guys, when there's blood in the water, you got to jump in. You got to get that going. We don't want to miss out on a great opportunity. Same thing with real estate, which is what I'm covering today. The shift. It is not a crash. Those will argue. Everyone will argue. I'm going to explain why. Okay. Now listen, at the end of the day, are any of us wrong? No. What's important is that we're all paying attention, right? And you don't want to be the one wondering what's happening. I like to say there's three kinds of people. You have those that have no clue what's going on, those who are wondering what's going on, and those who are aware and are making whatever proactive changes that they have to be as successful as possible. And in this case, we are going to be discussing the shift. And that's really what I want to focus on today. I'm adjusting my camera because I want to make sure that we are going to be doing our auto switching as we get to the nitty and the gritty of this incredible conversation. We're going to cover topics with the National Association of Realtors, and we're going to prove all these points on why it's a shift. Okay. I'm also going to jump across over to Redfin. They are very accurate as well when it comes to, I like to say that they have their toes in the sand. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to staying on topic with, maybe on topic is not the word I want to say. They stay abreast of everything that's going on. And I can really respect that because at the end of the day, they are a huge conglomerate, if you will, in the real estate industry. They're very active alongside with the company that I represent, Keller Williams. Gary Keller is definitely on top of his game. My office, KW Reserve, we have quite a few agents there that are very active. Is almost 300 agents there. And I know we have 2 offices. So that office, the other office has more. And that's just counting the area that we're in. And then my status, you guys know about me, director of the Realtors Commercial Alliance, RCA, with the Realtors Association here in Florida, right under the National Association of Realtors. I plan on climbing up that ladder as I get a little bit smarter, a little bit brighter, and do a little bit more business. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is, right? For me. So I want to make sure that I get that going. Auto switching is doing what it does. And what's important here for this conversation is that you guys understand exactly what it is that a shift means and why it's a shift and it's not a crash. I'm not playing on your emotions. This is, although graphs are very similar to what you're seeing 2008, and then you back up to 1980 and you watch the curves and so forth, and you follow the news and the media and so forth. Yes, there are similarities, but the conditions and the events that were actually happening on a person-to-person scale are significantly different. I'm just going to jump back to 2008, when clearly what we were going through at that time was people were getting homes and getting approved for homes that should have never gotten a home. And it's unfortunate, and I don't mean that in any disrespect. It's just that, you know what, the rules are the rules, and when you bend the rules, someone has to pay for it, in no matter what it is, from a sport to a friendly game between friends to the rules with money and the economy here in the United States. So what ended up happening was between all the mortgages that were happening, and then the banks started getting real hungry and started doing these adjustable rate mortgages and so forth, people were getting money that should have never got money and didn't qualify. Now, I'm a firm believer in investing and using, you have to use other people's money for investing. That's just the name of the game. So you go to the lender, right? However, big however, and the comma, um, it hurt us. It hurt us big time, to the point that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac had to get bailed out. Now, is that the situation now? No. It is not because the banks went crazy giving people money that should never have gotten money. It is now, when it comes to real estate, it is the fact that homes were overvaluated because of, I want to call it the gold rush of real estate. Everyone rushing down to Florida and all these other popular states in the past 2 years to buy property because the deals were great. Okay. So then, because there was a scarcity in property at the time and a high demand of buyers, okay, it became what is called a seller's market. And so the sellers were like, I'm just going to sit back right now and make this money. Let me see. How bad do you want my house? How bad do you want my house? How bad do you want my house? Right? So they're going back and forth, and they're just like, I'm just going to sit here and figure it out. All right. So, all right. How much do you want to give me? Oh, wait, you want to buy my house and you don't want to do an inspection? Oh, I love you. Oh, wait, you want to buy my house. You don't want to do an inspection, and you're going to close in how many days? Whoa, that's phenomenal. I don't have to wait. I don't have to wait for my money. So then that started to get real crazy. A home, just for example, for numbers' sake, round figures, we're not going to get real tight with this, but homes that would have been worth $200,000 were being purchased for $250, $260, $270. It started to get crazy, right? So then appraisers would go into a neighborhood where a similar property as yours, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,400 square feet. Let's just do round numbers here. And they're like, hey, well, the last 5 and 6 homes all sold for $270. So the next person who comes in and gets their home appraised is appraising for around $270. Now, there's other things that are coming into play here, right? You know, upgrades, key upgrades. Just because you have impact glass doesn't mean your home is worth another $40,000 more, because that's what you spent to put glass on your house. It means that your house is more energy efficient and can take higher winds and has a higher theft value. So who makes, theft value, higher value against theft? That makes the insurance companies happy, and it helps give you peace of mind when it comes to energy efficiency and a safer home. But that does not increase the home value. Okay, things that increase the home value are key things that traditionally increase the value, like adding another bedroom and square footage to your house, dropping in a pool. When you do these heavy mods to your house, those things increase your value. And then you got to look at the thing that you don't want to do is over improve your house in your community. You don't want to be the guy or girl that goes in there and turns your house into $1 million property and everyone else around you is worth $300,000. Shame on you. You will never see that money back. So I hope you plan on living there forever. Now, if you do, and you do all of that, good for you. And that's what makes you happy, right? So when they appraise these properties and they do that, and we start getting these overevaluated properties, it starts to create a problem, right? So the appraisers are like, listen, I got to go based on these numbers right here. So so then the banks, they're like, listen, we got to start dialing this back. How are we going to dial this back? Well, the appraiser has to do their job. They have to appraise based on the homes in the area. But banks are looking at it and they're like, listen, although you're saying this house is this much, there's no way it should have jumped this high in value in the past 2 years. We have a problem here. I don't want to give them this much money for that house. They may have qualified for this, but I don't want to spend that money because we fear, here's the banks, we fear that number is going to come down and we're never going to see that back if this person, one, loses the house, right? Or they turn around and they want to sell and they have to sell for less. There's a problem here, so we have this portfolio of mortgages that we wrote and we need this portfolio to be successful. All right. That's everything in a nutshell. So the banks are looking at it and they're like, how do we fix this? So then the feds above the banks, who give the banks permission to write these loans in, and you know, there's this chain of command that starts happening here on how much money everyone could write and what types of loan packages and so forth that everyone's allowed to do. You have this situation now where it's like, okay, we need to dial this back because we're looking at the economy and things are a little tight right now. So we are going to raise interest rates. We're going to make it harder. So that curve of borrowers gets tighter. It's like a bell curve, right? And now we have a smaller window of people that can actually qualify to purchase a home. So when that window gets smaller, right, you have less buyers. So what does that mean? Well, if you have less buyers, all those unrealistic sellers out there, you know who I'm talking to. You need to start dialing back your numbers. You're like, stop getting crazy. You're selling because you either have to or you're selling just because you're an opportunist. So once you decide which seller you are at that point, then you can start changing your prices. If you're an opportunist, take your house off the market. Take your property off the market. All right, because you're not doing anyone a favor. You're trying to take advantage of the situation. You're wasting a lot of people's time. Okay, if you're selling because you have to or because it's time to move on in life, you're my real seller. Okay, you need to sell according to the market. You don't dictate the price. The buyer does, because the buyer is the one who's deciding whether or not they're going to spend the money on your property. You can't say, I want $1, but the buyer is like, I'll give you 50 cents, right? It's just not going to happen, right? So you have to understand that rule. When's the right time to sell? When it's time for you. Exactly what I just said. The buyers, when's the right time to buy? When you're ready to buy. Not because you're waiting for the market. You keep waiting. You just go ahead and sit on your hands. You'll never be ready. Okay? When your budget is where it's supposed to be, you're ready. Because then it doesn't matter what the market does. It doesn't matter if it goes up. It doesn't matter if it goes down. Your income, your budget is according to what you can afford, and therefore you can buy that house or commercial property or investment multifamily or what have you that has to do with real estate. It's your time because your time is now. That's the right time. When a person asks that kind of question, is because they really don't understand. So I'm telling you right now, this is how it's done. This is what you need to understand. An investment is a risk when you know nothing about it. There is zero risk in investing when there is nothing you don't understand. There's high risk in investing when you are clueless where you're putting your money. The risk is high. You don't know what you're doing. You're just putting your money in there and you're letting everybody tell you what to do. Shame on you. You're probably going to lose that money. And then the catch-all to all of that is, because it's an investment, there's always a risk, a small one that you might lose. But how you minimize that risk is your knowledge in the investment that you take. That information right there, that's something that I read right there in Tiptoeing to Work by Warren Buffett. Okay, it's real simple. It's common sense. His strategy has worked forever. The guy's freaking been doing this longer than most of us probably watching this right now. Most of you guys out there trying to invest right now, this guy's been doing it forever. He got it right. Must be doing something right. Okay, he's still here and his name means something. You know who I'm talking about the moment I said his name. So clearly he has to be doing something right, right? Makes sense. So taking that all into account, now you understand what I mean when I say shift. All right, so maybe Justin is just giving us his opinion, and opinions, well, those are like a-holes, right? Everyone's got one. So I'm going to back that opinion by my first reading, and I was looking at National Association of Realtors. They dropped an article May 26th, all right? The writer is Quentin Simmons, all right? And he's got a little number here. I don't know what all that means. That's his media contact info. Key highlights: pending sales slid for the 6th consecutive month, down 3.9% in April from March. We're dropping. These are facts. The sales are dropping. Why are they dropping? Pending sales rose in the Midwest and fell in other 3 regions. Compared to the prior year, pending sales dropped for the 11th consecutive month, with a 9.1% year-over-year drop and decline in all regions. Why is this happening? Okay, it's real simple. It's the mortgage rates going up. Okay. So if those numbers continue to go up, which they are, then we're causing, what did I say? A shift. Okay. Because those who can buy will buy. Those who can qualify will qualify and will continue, and they'll keep moving on because they can, not because they're trying to, right? If you are not capable right now, you're going to be a renter longer. If you're looking at investment property, you make sure that the property that you're looking at, you don't look at it and you're like, oh, well, I'm going to buy it, but the value is going to drop. No, the value is not going to drop if you are making the proper offer and you understand the market. And when I say that, if you buy something and it's a rental property and the rent is one number and the cap is one number and you want to improve the cap, then you raise the rent. Now your cap changes, and that future, which now we're talking about constructing a pro forma, your future income on that property is significantly higher, right? So therefore the cap rate changes. Well, if you can predict that, and we know that that's the way you're going to change it, well, let's look at the economy right now. We have more renters than we have buyers. So guess what you're able to do? You're able to go up in rent because you know that person has to pay rent. They have to because they need a place to stay. Wait, but rental rates are skyrocketing right now. That's not fair. Let me help you understand that real quick. Especially here in Florida, rental rates are going to continue to go up. A landlord can jump just as happy as he wants to jump right now with that rent. And unless it is a state of an emergency where there aren't enough jobs to go out there to be able to make the income, to be able to pay the rent, that's your state of emergency. And people start becoming homeless as a result, and families are on the street, they can do it. Let me tell you, there's hundreds of thousands of businesses out there hiring. The problem is we have these millennial entrepreneurs who want to go out there and command their income. And the moment they don't like that paycheck, they're out. Can't do that. Okay. So, everything is a chain and effect, a cause and a chain of events, right? So understanding that will help you understand why things are the way they are. Don't be a complainer. Understand it, research it, know how to move ahead before it becomes an obstacle of yours, right? And so that's what we're looking at. That's what we're headed to. And you have to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, then you're just roaming aimlessly, right? And you're letting every wave that hits you knock you in a different direction. I can promise you that's like floating in the ocean without a motor or paddles. Dude, you're just going to go whichever way the wind takes you. But if you have a motor, which means that you have the device you need, the plan to get where you need to go, well, then all you got to do is turn that bad boy on, because it works. Right? And you go in a direction that you choose to go in, regardless of which way those waves are going, right? And you manipulate your path. There it is. Okay. So that's the shift. When I jumped over to Redfin, all right, they really touched on exactly my point, proving the shift. The sudden surge in mortgage rates has reduced home buyers' budgets in many markets, forcing sellers to reset their price expectations. Shift. Because the seller can't ask for the ridiculous number that they want, the buyer now takes the control. They take the seat, because the seller has to come down to invite the buyers, to open the door to the buyers. It makes it enticing for them to come up and say, hey, you know what? I like that number, right? Or, you know what? Yeah, you're asking too much. I'll give you this much. And then the seller's like, oh, I'm going to sit and wait. Well, the sellers can sit and wait all they want. Guess what? That buyer's just going to walk away. So the sellers know that that's becoming the more predominant solution that is happening. So now they have to come down in their asking price. That is the shift. So that's what's happening. This is what's going. There's going to be a crash. All right, let's talk about crash for a second. Crash. We're just going to crash, right? So what does this mean, crash? Does that mean that homes are just going to drop down to a stupid, ridiculous, no value number? Well, let's cause that. Let's break that down. If a home drops down to a ridiculous number, then the banks lose money because they'll never see that number back, right? So then we have a home that is 200,000 and it drops down. We're just going to say something stupid. It drops down to $50,000. This house that was 200 grand drops down to $50,000. And we call this a crash. Really? You know how much the economy would have to drop completely for something like that to happen? You're talking about an all-out devastation of a superpower on the globe with the most used currency, the most powerful currency on the globe. Stay away from media, okay? Stay away from people that don't know what they're talking about on social media unless they are actually giving you facts. And then let's apply some common sense here, okay? It's not a freaking crash. Don't get caught up in the emotions. Listen to what they're talking about. Dig into it. Pay attention. And know how to move before it happens. It's all I want to drop on you guys. Here's the next thing I want to drop on you. Go over there and click that like, that subscribe, jump on board, because the real estate, the investments, the stocks, the day trading that I like to talk about, we get dirty, okay? And we get into it, and I promise I won't lead you astray. I will stay consistent, and I will give you facts without playing on your emotions. I don't care about that stuff. I want you to go out there and make money. Wait till you guys see my next program. I have an entire program that I'm constructing right now that's going to change your mindset and make you amazing in your life, your wealth, your relationships with people, family. I have a program that's going to make and change your entire mindset, okay? And I can't wait to introduce you guys to that. It's going to cost you. I will do an introductory video that will kind of open the door and segue you into why you should jump on it. And then from there, you got to take the keys and turn it on, right? You got to jump in, sign up for the program. It will be $99. I think what I'm going to do is $99 a month. It is a 1-year program, 1 year. And the goal here is to completely change your life for the better. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how we're going to change your mindset. You will get the coaching that you need. You will have access to me so that you can ask me questions, whether it's on the live, whether it's anything that's going on when it comes to your life and key questions that we can help change. We don't want you to be a complainer. I'm not throwing you a life vest. This is not what's happening. You're not going to come to me with the drowning victim syndrome. We're going to fix all of that. All right. So stay by for that. You're going to love it. We're going to get deep. We're going to get in your head. Okay. And we're going to change it all. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for checking in. This is The Shift. See you guys.